All right, Rufus The Villain back in the studio talking to Nick. What's up, brother?
What's up, Keith?
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about what have we always wanted to learn how to do.
Oh, man, that's such a good question.
Yeah.
Like, I've always wanted to be a cartoon artist. I've drawn a lot. I draw every day. And the bad thing is, it's like, okay, you can draw this, that, or the other thing, and like people are like, oh no, that's not how you draw that. And I don't think there's ever
There
a
aren't
bad
rules
way
to
to draw.
art.
I don't think there's a bad way to draw anything.
No. I mean, maybe if you're like 2 years old, yeah.
Well, like the other big thing is like, okay, so let's say we're talking about Spider-Man, Hellboy. Let's just throw these big ones out there: Spider-Man, Hellboy, Dr. Manhattan. Say if you don't draw them the way they look, people might not recognize what that character is. But you might draw them in your own style.
Also, people are they're very loyal to a certain type or style of like Batman.
Yeah.
You throw, if one person might be a fan of Neil Adams, and another person might be a fan of like Jim Lee
Yeah.
or something like that, and the way they draw
Dude,
them.
well, I've got Jim Lee tattoos on myself.
I was getting something I was getting like a Gatorade from the gas station the other day, and the dude had the Jim Lee Superman tattoo.
Yeah, well, I got the yeah.
It was pretty badass, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was a kid, like I always wanted, I did actually want to be a cartoonist when I was a kid.
Me too, man. Well, I've always drawn. Like, one of my biggest influences is I had the Looney Tunes. They were like playing cards, but like the Ace was Sylvester, stuff like that. One of my biggest skills is I can like look at something and draw a photocopy of it, which is pretty cool, and like that lends to a lot of stuff that you can do, but you're also just at that point you're just recreating what you've seen.
True. Yeah, when I was a kid, like, I think his character was called Madman. Madman. And I used you remember the S that everyone would draw in high school?
Oh yeah, the segmented S.
Yeah, which no one has ever been able to explain the origin of it.
It's just a 90s thing.
No one could ever.
Well, you can look at YouTube videos and nobody knows where that's from.
No one knows where it originated from.
Yeah.
But I remember I used to kind of draw that on like fucking the desks and shit. And
my guess is from taggers.
I guess
that's my guess. That's where I would imagine, because we had like the Anarchy A.
Is it kind of cool though that no one really knows where it came from?
Well, right. We had like the Anarchy A. We had like there's a couple symbols from that time period that weren't 100% explained.
Yeah.
Like you get like for I'm 37. You're what?
36.
So, so for me, like I had a big thing in my growing up is I had this group with an extra W. Their whole thing is that they were a tagging crew, and their whole thing is they'd wear these big long like stocking caps, and like so it'd be like 5-6 feet. Their whole thing is like how long you could get it. It was kind of like your thing is like how long you could be running down the street like tagging on something and have like this 17-foot long tassel on the back of your hat. I'm gonna tag, and I'm gonna run away, and I have this huge fucking tassel. They don't catch me. That makes me that much more badass. Like I have this huge, like I got 17 feet of bullshit behind my headset. And take off running, and I still, I think that kind of just would make the tagger back in the day feel like more legit. Like they had this thing on the back of their head, and I'm gonna make it as long as I can.
You ever see some of the what? I guess it was tagging in like the 70s in New York.
Okay.
Dude, some of that stuff they painted on like subway cars and stuff is fucking insane.
Well, the artistry there was very amazing. Because they would set it up to where it would be like the doors of the subway car closing and opening, and that would like create the picture. Bring it like that. It's kind of amazing. Like, Banksy?
Oh, I love Banksy. Yeah.
Some amazing shit.
Did you ever see Exit Through the Gift Shop?
I have not seen that.
Oh my God, dude. I have it. It's all about like street art and like the origins and where it's come from, where it's going. And it's really fucking good.
Interesting. And the listeners out there got to know that I'm running into this episode fucking blind. I don't have my glasses.
Well, we're pretty much in radio. Well, we're in radio.
Well, like you guys got to know that I'm rolling through this without actually being able to see anything.
Yeah.
So it's actually making me engage my brain.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
No, I love street art honestly the most. Like, and it was seen as not really art for the longest time, really until Banksy, Shepard Fairey.
Shepard Fairey, dude, yeah, shout out.
When they would start doing stuff, and it became a little bit commercialized, and like Banksy actually did something where he had a piece in like it was like a Sotheby's auction or something, one of those high end auctions, and it was Banksy piece. It was framed. So and the second it sold, it actually shredded the piece of artwork. The frame was set up that way where it shredded the piece of artwork.
Whoa.
And they say like he had somebody planted, or maybe he was there and he shredded it as soon as it happened. And of course, it made it worth even more money because that happened. But people have like been known to like take walls with his artwork on and then sell them.
Oh,
but it's like whenever he does a piece of artwork in like the UK, like it's actually like it's like blocked off and like you can't
That's
like
awesome.
demolish it or anything. It's really cool the way this shit is, but at the same time, it's great too because he's never exposed to who he really is.
And nobody knows who he is.
And one thing I love about the biggest thing I love about street art is the fact that when people are the people who do it, they do it just because they love it. They're not making any money off of it when they're doing it.
I watched a YouTube video.
They do it art for the sake of art.
I watched a YouTube video yesterday. I forget the name of it, but it was just like these amazing. What it was vandalism. Mm. It was vandalism that turned out to be art. Mm-hmm. And this guy I forget where it was. It was somewhere in the UK. Mm. They call it the Wall of Skulls, and it's this bird. It's like in this random alley, and it's this bird standing on a bunch of other skulls of birds. Hmm. It's amazing.
You ever hear of it took me a minute to remember this guy called Space Invader?
I'm not familiar.
What this guy does is he makes like the Space Invader, like he does like a pixel art thing where he takes like a Space Invader, he does a mosaic type thing, and he just puts them in random places, like in random places all over the world, like on walls and stuff.
Oh, I've actually seen that.
And it is I think it is an Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Exit Through the Gift Shop.
But it's really cool. But then you can also see the commercial side of it through that documentary. Was this guy who would just kind of like Banksy kind of created in a way called like Mr. Brainwash, and he was more of like he was falling on the trend of street art being
Mr.
popular.
Brainwash.
And he would just make these pieces that were he just tried to sell them to make, he was just doing them to make money. He wasn't necessarily like an artist. And that was a big debate actually in the community, was like, is he an artist or is he just trying to make money? And it was like, he's just trying to make money out of this. Because he had an association with Banksy and it's been a while since I watched the documentary actually.
Well, and you can't hate on that. Like somebody can throw something down like that it's like amazing to look at. Mm. You know what I mean? Like I've drawn stuff, been to places where I've made like sculptures and stuff like that.
Dude, wait, Mike.
And
you always forget about your mic.
I've made sculptures and stuff like that, and like it doesn't seem fair to me. Like oh, that's amazing for somebody to look at. Mm-hmm. Like I've done YouTube videos and stuff like that I've done. Like my big thing was like my grandpa was an amazing sculptor, like amazing. Dude. Like he used like rattlesnake skulls and like
really?
They used like rattlesnake skulls and like skeletons and made sculptures around their skeletons and shit like that.
Whoa.
And like his whole thing was like, he used to always tell me, he's like, hey, Keith, I know how to sculpt a horse. And I'd say, okay, cut away everything that doesn't look like a horse. Oh, Grandpa, that's genius. Like, think about that. That's genius. Mm-hmm. That's genius. Like you're looking at a piece of wood or whatever, and say you're trying to sculpt a horse. You cut away everything that does not look like a horse. Think that's kind of there's
the bodies thing I'm thinking of right now, where like you go to the exhibit and it's just like they cut away certain layers of
flesh. There's also a philosophy thing there. Like, okay, I'm going to carve a horse. What do I do with this block of wood? You cut away everything that doesn't look like a horse.
Wasn't that like Michelangelo's thing or something?
I
like
don't know.
A sculpture or like some sculptor was like, oh, it's like, well, the piece, the statue is always there. I just got rid of the unnecessary parts.
Well, that makes the same sense.
Yeah,
that makes the same sense.
Or painters will say that too.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, like
I just revealed what was already there.
Well, there I've heard that before. I've revealed what was already there, and like we look at art, like we're like so all over the place tonight. Yeah. But what would you say is like your favorite piece of art? Your favorite piece of art, like something that. Yeah, that's not an easy question.
I mean, I really, like I was saying, I really love street art. I think I've talked about this guy before on the podcast. I have a piece of art from this guy named, he goes by like Recycled Propaganda, and it's this painting, or it's not a painting, it's like a more of a collage type piece I have on my wall, and it's all these George W. Bush quotes about like all the stupid shit he'd say, and there's like pictures, but the whole thing is and it says, if he can be president, you can do it, you can be anything.
That's nice. Nice.
And I've always really loved that piece a lot.
Well, like,
and I've wanted him to do. I've actually thought about getting a hold of him and be like, "Hey, can you do a Trump piece for me to kind of mirror that same one?"
Well, like, I have something I'm going to throw at you. It's a piece of art. It's also a piece of literary history. My favorite piece of art ever, because this was drawn out. It was Spider-Man, who was at the bottom of the ocean fighting they called him the Ocean Master.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And it's this whole big scene where like the ocean's coming down on top of him because and he's like standing up and he's like, oh, I can't forget Aunt May. I can't forget. And he stands up and literally holds up like literally over like 1 million pounds of water. Like I'm sure there's a number there. And like he holds it up because of his fortitude. I'm fucking Spider-Man.
Those old Spider-Man, like one of probably my all-time favorite Spider-Man cover was he was holding up, like there was like water coming down on him and he was holding up a ceiling.
This is the issue where I'm talking about this issue.
It was like 28 though, or something. No,
I'm talking about I'm talking about this exact issue.
What was the cover? I'm thinking of.
Well, this is the issue. This is the issue that it's from because he's underground and Dr. Octopus is part of it.
It might be that one, yeah.
I know this.
I know.
Who do you think you're talking about?
I know.
He's holding up this ceiling to try to get people out, and everything like collapses on top of him, and he's like, oh, I can't give up on Aunt May, I can't give up on Uncle Ben and Mary Jane, and he like plants his feet underneath him. I wish you guys could see me because I'm fucking like he like stands up and holds this fucking immense amount of weight above his head to save the like. Yeah, I don't know.
Also, the Spider-Man No More cover is great.
Oh,
where the costume's in the dumpster and he's walking away.
That was Peter Parker No More.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a great cover.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of those old school comics had some amazing covers.
What would be your favorite like 90s comic title?
90s?
90s comic title. God, that's hard to say, right?
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight. Oh, dude.
Well, because when did Watchmen come out? Late 80s?
Watchmen was like 88, 89.
Yeah, that's why I got the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Which I don't think was like early 90s.
Well, we had a lot of the same writers.
Yeah.
But like for me,
Invisibles was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was Preacher. Preacher was another one.
The Preacher.
Invisibles. Yeah, that was probably my favorite.
Invisibles is really good. I really enjoyed the Clone Saga.
Oh yeah,
the Clone Saga and like Maximum Carnage, and then like we get into like the Dark Knight Rises, like because that was all during the whole like where Batman and Superman start to fight, and like that's where we get the whole what's that bullshit? Oh, Justice League bullshit movie. were like,
oh, Snyder Cut coming out soon,
Martha,
man.
Martha. Like, no.
Yeah, Snyder Cut's coming out soon, right?
Well, if it doesn't have to do with Martha. both our mom's name are Martha.
You know, it's funny. I never realized that until the movie. I really didn't. Did you?
Yeah, dude. Like, when I was I literally was sitting in the theater, and he's like, Martha. I'm like, oh my, they're doing this. They're doing this. Like, they're throwing their jeans into the shallow of a pool.
It was a terrible movie, though.
Well, I liked it because of what it was, but like I was really super happy to see like Batman and Superman finally fight. Like, like I could be a nerd all day and never get to see that visually. So like it was cool. Like I really liked the JLA when they brought in the Flash, which is one of my favorite characters of all time. If what do they call it, the DCEU?
Yeah.
If they ever continued on that, the only hope they have is the Flashpoint paradox. That's only.
I'd love to see that.
That's the only. That's the only chance.
That's my favorite DC animated movie.
Me too.
Hands down. Flashpoint Paradox is the best.
Yeah, like that would be the only chance that DC would have to keep the movie franchise alive. That's the only chance they have, and then
or Dark Knight Returns.
You're talking.
I still feel like one day when the Batman franchise is in the shitter, they'll do Dark Knight Returns.
Well, that's what I thought.
Which they kind of tried to do a little bit with Batman Superman.
Well, that's what I thought that they were.
Because Affleck was he would have been a really great fucking like Batman Returns or Dark Knight Returns,
dude. Okay, so like we're like,
or even get fucking Michael Keaton to play him, but even then he's not as muscular as you'd want to see.
We're circling the same drain, like.
But I will say DC movies are in the shitter right now. Anyway,
well, like
not the Batman.
Ben Affleck is the perfect Frank Miller Batman. There's no denying that.
I totally have to agree with that.
There's no other actor.
I think if he would have gotten the right material,
dude,
he would have been fucking perfect.
Like
but he always got he got the shit in his stick,
like
man. Daredevil and then fucking Batman.
Here's the thing. He's a comic book nerd.
Yeah.
That wants to make a good comic book movie.
Maybe they'll maybe Marvel will be like, you know what? Hey,
let's make.
You want to come in and do something cool?
Let's make a fucking comic book that is about Ben Affleck.
What?
Let's make a comic book that's about Ben Affleck.
They already kind of did that with Chasing Amy.
Oh, you're right. Go ahead.
Blood Man and Chronic. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. Ben Affleck should fucking do like a good. He should have a good comic. I think it actually make him a villain, but make him a really good villain.
Well, I'm one of those people out there that I really enjoyed Ben Affleck's portrayal. I liked his Daredevil. Fuck off, whatever. I enjoyed his Daredevil, because that's the first time I got to see Double D on screen, and I got to see like the sonar scenes, and I was like, all right, like if you got to throw Ben Affleck into another random comic book character, let's say Cyclops.
Nah.
That's where my brain goes.
Too old for it, huh?
Why? What? Okay, but anyway, what we're getting at is the Ben Affleck's portrayal, good or bad?
It was good.
I loved it.
He was good. He just had shitty material.
I loved every second of it. He was an actor that was perfect for the character that just got brought in by the correct.
And then also, his situation in his own life, he had a lot of shit going on with like alcoholism and everything.
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah.
So, just on this discussion, just because I'm having fun with this, let's think about some of our favorite comic book characters. Who would be the best actor?
Really, we started this with one topic.
Doesn't matter.
So off topic.
This is Rufus the Villain. It doesn't matter.
That's true. Rufus the Villain is very off the cuff. That's why I said let's do this as Rufus the Villain. What was the question again?
Your favorite comic book character, best actor.
Well, my favorite is Punisher. And I'd have to go. Actually, John Bernthal is pretty fucking good. Did you hear about this recently? So, the guy who created Punisher, I think it's Mike Zack. I want to say
Mike
Zack. I want to say I could be wrong about that. But he really hates the fact about how the Punisher has been corrupted. The Punisher skull has been corrupted.
Oh, and other things
by police and the military.
Oh, and a lot of military too. A lot of military.
And actually, they actually put out an issue of the Punisher to where the whole thing is there's a scene where there's a cop who like he's interacting with the Punisher and he points to the skull on this cop car. And the Punisher goes over and the cop didn't know he was the Punisher. And the Punisher walks over and he like peels it off. And he's like, no, like you need to be better than me. Like,
dude,
no, it's like,
love
don't,
what you're saying.
Don't be me. Like you need to be better than I am. Like,
I love that.
And that's the whole thing is like the Punisher is like he plays by his own set of rules. He goes out and kills people because he feels that the law like isn't what the Punisher, it's like the law isn't taking care of the people who really deserve justice, who deserve to die. He doesn't like that system, so he goes and he kills people because like, hey, you're just going to get away with this shit. And he feels like, yeah, cops and the military, they should be better than that. So that's why I liked it how they did the comic and then said like the Punisher was like, like don't fucking like no, you need to be better than I fucking am. Like you need to stand for something. And the fact that the cops and the military were like, no, we're following his example is pretty fucked up because that's just telling somebody that like, okay, we're gonna be judged during executioner, which is what the Punisher is. And it's like, no, don't be me. And then if you think, and if they're doing that, they're saying something by putting a Punisher skull on there.
Oh, a lot of
even like, though they might not be saying it, and I'm getting a little political right now by saying this, but this is something I really am pissed off about.
Because that's the thing. There's a lot of like the Punisher skull for some reason.
Yeah, bring your mic in.
For some reason, the Punisher skull ends up on a lot of like infantry stuff.
It does.
And I get it, but I feel
they're like their whole thing is they're punishing and they're killing like terrorists or people like bad people.
Well, I feel like it gets prematurely put onto a symbol or a stature without really knowing what it is. Like it's like, okay, yeah, I grew up in the 90s. Well, let me finish. Like I grew up in the 90s and I'm a Marine now. The Punisher, he's a badass. Let's use his symbol. Like, no.
When they don't really know what's behind it, or they don't care what's behind it, they won't read the comic books.
Yeah.
And the Punisher, the whole reason that he became what he became was because the law failed him.
Well,
and the law failed him, and his family was killed by gangsters in a park, and the gangsters got away with it. So he had to go and take his own brand of justice to
Punishers
to get revenge.
You and I,
and he paid a big price for doing that because he just became a killing machine.
Well, you and I personally have a huge love for the Punisher.
Yeah, and he became like a one-man army, and he was honestly isolated by himself, and he just had to be on his own, and he like. But actually, now one thing I remember though is at the end of that panel of comic, he's like, if you want someone to look up to, look up to Captain America. Like he's what you should be standing for.
Dude,
I wish I would have said that like a few minutes earlier from now, but that's true.
You gave me goosebumps. Goosebumps.
If these guys, and I know I'm getting political,
the cap.
If these cops and these soldiers had Captain America shields on on their cop cars,
it would change things.
Or
it would change things.
Getting Captain America, that would be like, yes, you're subscribing to his ideal of being a good person.
Because that's the cap.
And fighting for people and justice.
I love that.
That's it. Like that's what they should be fighting for.
I wish we had like a horn we could like.
Because even the Punisher is saying like, don't be in my corner. Like be in Captain America's corner. Like I'm doing this for myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel these people deserve. I feel these people should be dead because they're shitty people, and you're not going to do a damn thing about it. But it's like Captain America is like fighting for good.
Well, there's nobody.
And be like, you know what? It's like Captain America's like. They may be able to get away with this, but at the same time, they deserve their day in court.
Well, like the big thing.
And these cops and military are like, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna fucking kill him.
Right.
And I'm getting way out there.
No, you're fine. Like the big thing with the cap.
I had a few drinks.
Yeah, that's right. With big thing with the cap. The big thing with what's Superman's the Big Blue, and what's Cap's nickname? It's not okay. So with Big
just Cap.
with Soups, we got the Big Blue Boy Scout, the Star Spangled Boy Scout, and all that stuff. And
well,
like,
Cap would just be the Boy Scout.
he's the Boy Scout. And like the thing is like I have to go. I've been a comic book nerd since 82, 83 because that's when I was born. And like Captain America for me is what's in your brain is like what is the most just, the most the most patriotic, the most like there's no compromising on what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. The example of what's right is definitely Captain America.
Yeah, like
he's the most ideal person you can think of. Idealistic and I mean, and you just watch like the fucking Avengers movies, and it's like you just look for
language.
Yeah, you just look at Captain America and be like, it doesn't matter what's going on. Like he's just gonna be like, you know, he could pick up Thor's hammer and be like, you know, whoever has Thor's motto,
whoever is worthy of Mjolnir will wield Thor's power.
Yeah, but like, what does that entail? I mean,
it's Thor's power.
I mean, being the most honorable person you could possibly imagine, no matter what.
Well, Vision was able. Here's the big thing: is Vision was able to pick it up, and like I don't know, like how the movies really played out to where like Cap and Vision like pretended not to be able to pick it up.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, but like, okay, you and I are big hardcore comic book nerds. Who's your favorite? Who do you think is the most badass? Who do you think is the most shit hits the fan? Who's gonna fucking fix it? Like who's the
Iron
best?
Man?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking more of the movies, but
it doesn't matter.
Iron Man, Doctor Strange.
I go Constantine off the top of my head, and then
Batman.
Well,
definitely.
Bats is like here's the big thing is it's because I'm Batman.
Yeah, because I'm Batman. Which is the way we end our versus episodes.
Because I'm Batman. Like I think I honestly like doing a lot of reading lately. I think Red Hood, Jason Todd, really has a lot of potential of being like an influential character of curbing things towards the good. And then like in the most recent I forget what it's called, but Etrigan recently dies.
He's a demon though.
Jason Blood takes over. It's interesting.
Well, wasn't Etrigan he was possessing Jason Blood?
He was possessing Jason Blood, keeping him immortal from the Knights Templar. And one of the most recent Justice League Dark. I feel like I'm like spoiling shit, but in one of the most recent Justice League Dark, Etrigan loses his corporeal form, and then Jason Blood takes over. And the whole thing is Jason Blood for the longest time has not wanted to have anything to do with Etrigan, so now he's the one that has to deal with the injustice and fight.
Man, this episode started out as one thing and it's completely turned to something else.
Well, that's the way we roll.
Well, do you want to get back to the original?
Yeah,
After a half an hour?
Go ahead.
It's literally been almost a half an hour since we started this one. Oh my God. This is going to be fun to write up. So, what's one, and this started with like asking you, like, what's one thing, or what's something you've always wanted to learn, but haven't? And we went off on drawing, and that's been the last half an hour going off that.
That's such a hard question.
Sorry. What's something else you've always wanted to learn but just haven't learned yet?
Dude, there's so many ways you can go at that. Like, it could be like the meaning of life. You could be like
42.
Oh, damn it. Well, 42. I don't know what to say after that. 42 is the answer.
You mean to get into something? I could start on my side.
Go ahead.
Go from there. So something after 29 minutes. I just have to point that out. Thank you if you're still listening.
We hope you are.
I know I'll be still listening while I'm standing in the shower. Because I listen to.
And it's on you guys if you've made that mental image. That's on you.
God.
I did that.
Yeah. Thanks, anyway, no, something I've always wanted to learn, and especially recently, has been guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I own 3 guitars, and I've owned them for years, and I've just always been like, I've always wanted to learn, but I've never gotten around to it all the time.
Who would you idolize the most on
guitar?
Yeah.
I'll say it. And actually, the one guy who he posted a video about a guitar he was demoing because he works for PRS, and he's this guy named Brian Ewald. And I actually have a tattoo of him. This guy.
Okay.
You can see it from here. I got a tattoo of him on my arm. Fantastic guy, first of all. Hands down, one of the nicest people I've ever met. Has two fantastic kids who are both really good musicians in their own right. Really nice wife. I remember I met her once and she was just super fucking cool. But even to this day, like the guy is like super nice, and I know I could go up to him and talk to him and be like, it would be super cool. Because he's always like, oh well, yeah. Like he said something to me once. I was like saying something about having like me getting tattooed, and he said like, yeah, I've checked my like students before. I'd be like, oh, has anybody ever tattooed you on them? And he told me that. I was like, that was awesome.
That's funny.
But his name's Brian Ewald, and he's a fucking super cool guy. But he works for PRS actually, and he also does a lot of solo stuff. But he's a guitarist, and he's fucking amazing.
We've had a lot of interesting conversations on tonight's episode.
Yeah.
Like I keep wanting to put more stuff out there. You know, like Jolanda, real quick, like Jolanda and everybody that's like been Behavior that's been like recording with me on stuff that's like not uploaded yet. Guys, you got to know that I'm just trying to upload it when the time is right. Yeah. When the editing,
for loud thoughts.
Yeah, when the editing is right. You know, like I feel so privileged that I've got reached out to and got to record that much. Like I've sat here on like a Tuesday afternoon talking to people about suicide and shit, and I just sit here in the studio by myself and like, okay, yeah, like I understand what you're talking about, and like tell me how you feel and what happened, and then I would they'd be like, would you mind not posting this? Okay. Like I'm like, cool. Like the fact that they want to talk to me is amazing. Yeah. So it's a really cool. I feel like it's a service. Yeah. Like people like talking to me, and it's so like we talked about bulimia one time, and that was crazy. Like there's this girl that it was. I'm not gonna give her name. She's she's a model in Tucson for Sears. And
my sister suffered from bulimia. Actually.
Yeah, it sucks, man. I didn't realize how bad it was. I didn't realize how bad that was.
Can I get through my last part?
Yeah.
And then I want to actually I want to go back to this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one thing for me is actually today, I was off work today, and I spent a lot of the day watching videos about guitars.
Nice.
I was like learning about that, like the different sounds of guitar pickups and the difference between like a humbucker and a single coil pickup. And I love that with YouTube nowadays. You can just look something up and be like, I want to learn about this. But the one thing for me is like, if I just spent time like actually trying to learn how to play that guitar, if I spent as much time watching YouTube videos and looking them up as I did trying to learn the guitar, maybe I'd actually be trying to get somewhere, but I have yet to really get there. In fact, I really want to buy like another guitar.
Yeah.
But it's not out yet, so I haven't bought it. But before I came actually here today to record, I bought like a guitar stand and a tuner and all this other stuff.
Have you been listening to any music out of your wheelhouse lately?
I really, really love the new Butch Walker album.
Butch Walker?
I love his stuff.
You
would know his stuff. I've been putting Pandora on. I'll put it on the Foo Fighters station. Actually, a lot of times, like Foo Fighters will come up, and then like Coldplay will come up. Which,
I love me some Coldplay. I love me some Coldplay.
We agreed on that before. How we like it's so trendy and everything.
Doesn't matter.
I fucking love Coldplay.
Coldplay is good.
I'm sorry.
I'm
just gonna say it right now. I love Coldplay.
Well, you can be.
They're great. They put out some great fucking songs.
You can be a metalhead that loves Coldplay. You could be whatever. The thing is what's his name? Chris.
Chris Martin.
Chris Martin.
Yeah.
Puts out some like. Think about like what's that album? Not Violent Hill.
Yeah, or
Viva La Vida.
Yeah, Viva La Vida.
That album.
That album was so good.
So good. And like I remember like when I first discovered them, I bought all of their albums. Yeah. I bought all of their albums.
Their new one was I only think I listened to it once on YouTube, and it was still really good. It was like a double album. They actually did a YouTube concert where they recorded it like at Sunrise in Israel, I think. I want to say, or Jordan, one of those. a Middle Eastern country. I forgot exactly, but it was really fucking good, man.
Have you ever heard their song "Paradise"?
Of course.
Dude, it's such a great video.
Yeah.
That it's like my big thing.
It's funny how we both love Coldplay, especially with you being such a metal guy.
Yeah. Okay.
You love like okay, so we're super death metal.
Okay,
shit.
so we're gonna get into metal. Since you brought that up, we're gonna get into metal.
Well, no, we're gonna say that for verses.
No, we're gonna get.
But this isn't the topic because that is the topic.
Oh, well, we're gonna get into it for a second.
Okay.
We're just to explain.
Okay.
Like, so the listeners out there, yeah, I love Coldplay, but I love the hardest of the most demonic. The most.
What's the name of the band we were listening to? The Russian band.
Salvation to Destruction.
They're good.
Yeah, dude. And that dude, they're from Russia.
That's one. Well, that's one thing I love about musical taste nowadays. Is it used to be like, oh, what kind of type of music you listen to, and nowadays it's like, oh, well, what don't you like?
Right.
And nowadays it's easier to say what you don't like more than it is what you do like.
Well, like Nick and I, we hang out and like. I like this really weird particular rap style that's like what you would call like horrorcore. They do all kinds of weird shit. Talk about murder and like Jason Voorhees on Crystal Lake. And I like...
Do you hear Stephen King wants to write a novel from Jason Voorhees' perspective?
I share that on Facebook.
Dude. That was probably where I saw it.
I'm gonna tear that.
That would be dope.
I'm gonna tear that up.
I would love to see that or read it.
The thing is I actually talked to a couple like horror nerds.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a book that was it would be a book that's what's referred to as zero monologue.
Uh-huh.
There would be no monologue, only description. There would be no I'm Jason Voorhees and I'm thinking about doing this. It just would be what's happening.
The only thing he would ever say to himself is kill, kill, kill.
Oh,
kill, kill, kill.
Kill, kill, kill. So it's more about like what the actions would be. So, dude, Stephen King writing fucking Friday the 13th. Yes, please. Yeah, take my money.
Okay, so I said something. It's about getting back to this and I'm like, now I have to get back to this. So, you talk about bulimia and eating disorders. Mm-hmm. My sister said something really profound once, and she said to me, while she was still dealing with it, trying to get herself right, was she's like, no matter how skinny you say I am, I'll always think I'm fat.
Well, that's what they call a body dysmorphia.
She does, yeah, she does have that.
And
she's fantastic now. Like, she's super comfortable with the way she looks and her shape, and she's one of those people who like came to accept the way they looked.
Yeah. Well, like
she's a beautiful person.
Well, like, you look at any bodybuilder in the world, they suffer from some degree of body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm not fit enough. I'm not.
Well, one thing that just came to mind is Chandler on Friends.
Oh,
Matthew
dude,
Perry.
big time.
He had anorexia, or I think he was suffering from it.
Well, he actually was bulimic.
Yeah, and you can see it actually from like the beginning of the show to like the middle of the show to the end of the show.
You can see him starting to gain weight and drop weight. And like,
because he was a lot fatter towards the end of the show. I'll just say that. But
did you know?
But you see him like in the middle of this of the season.
Did you know he's missing his pinky?
Is he?
Yeah.
He was a huge alcoholic too, wasn't he?
When the show started, the big thing is.
Well, they say like he was drunk like a lot of those episodes.
Well, he took one of the things like he's missing his left pinky, and he took a lot of his mannerisms from Radar from MASH. Because Radar from MASH was missing his left pinky. So he like took a lot of like his, like he literally would do everything he could to like not let his left hand show in the scene and to like make it look like I had like, yeah, he's literally missing his left pinky like right there.
Shit, man. God damn. Yeah. I never knew that.
Yeah. This is cool stuff, man. Me. So did you ever watch MASH?
Oh man. I probably saw it like a little bit when I was younger.
Like
reruns.
I saw a meme the other day of like, oh, I'm a Hawkeye, and it shows like
Alan Alda.
And he's like,
I think he's still alive too.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! And like it shows Jeremy, what's his name? Played Hawkeye in the Avengers.
I have no idea. Oh, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, and it shows him, and it shows the guy from Last of the Mohicans that calls himself Hawkeye, and then it shows Hawkeye, and he's like doing this whole like.
Salute.
Yeah, like I'm Hawkeye.
Yeah. Alan Alda was pretty great though.
Yeah. Like I remember watching MASH when it first. Dude, we're old enough.
It was for the longest time. It was like the most watched like series finale of all time.
We are old enough.
And then actually, I think it was Friends was like Friends and Seinfeld were like the last two really big ones.
Well, the big thing is we are old enough to grow up with that in our childhood. Like I remember like Klinger and all that. And
well, there'll never be like anything like that again on television, where like millions upon millions of people like watch the series finale of a show.
Oh right. Well, you remember like Seinfeld?
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, Seinfeld. Like
when like Seinfeld came to an end, I remember watching that. Like I remember watching Seinfeld, but I remember not caring that it was over.
I think the last really big series finale was probably like Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
or Game of Thrones. Actually, Game of Thrones is probably the last really big one.
I don't have an opinion on it.
Even though that one was like, eh.
I don't like. I know I've seen every episode.
I think the last really really good one though was probably Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. Like I've been watching a lot of. This is just my nerdiness. Have you ever seen Dark Matter?
No.
Dark Matter is amazing. Dark Matter is
Josh really loved that show.
Well, I got Josh into it.
Yeah.
Like it. I'm not gonna go through the spiel. It's outer space. They're in a ship. They all don't remember who they are, and they wake up in a ship and have to restart the ship because they don't know who they are, and they wake up and like, okay, so I'm the leader. What? No, I'm the leader. No, I'm the leader. It's really good stuff, man. It's really good stuff. But I've been watching a lot of Star Trek lately.
Always good.
Yeah, like I recently changed my Facebook profile to Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, both Jewish.
Both Jewish. Both Jewish. Who do you think? Okay, so we're gonna get it. Let's get into some Star Trek.
No. We need to get back on topic, man.
Okay, follow it up.
No, so one thing I've always wanted to learn how to do, but haven't done it, is learn Spanish.
I know how to speak Spanish, which is really weird because here's the thing: is I understand it. I understand every word. But for some reason,
every word, really.
Well, yeah, I really do, dude. I've grown up here in Tucson, Arizona. I know Spanish. The thing.
What does Vaya con Dios mean?
Dude, you got me.
Someone fucking tell me that then, man.
Well, here's the thing: is I understand when somebody's speaking Spanish to me. I know how to respond to them. I might not know the exact words to say, but I know how to respond to them and convey the conversation.
Well, you don't speak Spanish, though.
That's not true, man.
I'm catching you, man.
Dude. Work in the food industry as long as I have, and have somebody talk to you. And no. Have somebody in the food industry talk to you in Spanish, trying to ask what they want. Dude, what does aceituna mean?
Aceituna? Oh, fuck. I've heard that phrase before.
Olive.
Aceituna
means olive. What does piticlesa mean?
I have no idea.
Pickle. Like I can make you food.
I did work with my last job before my current job. I was working in a restaurant, and the woman and a few people in the back like only spoke Spanish.
Do you know how to?
There's an old Mexican woman who was in the back. Her name was Maria.
Do you know how to say?
She was always like sweet as fuck. Like she was a total bitch to like the main like guy or boss. Like she only spoke Spanish, but she was like,
what about lechuga?
Maybe C, maybe no.
What about lechuga?
I have no idea. Fuck.
Lettuce.
All right.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I always say like I spent a month in Spain and I only learned how to order my drinks.
Right.
But that's something I always, that's one thing I'm bringing up is like I've always wanted to learn how to speak Spanish, and like I have the Duolingo app to try to learn it, but I just never get around to doing it.
Well, it's so great. Like I love the like,
and all I would need is 5 minutes, like 5 minutes a day type thing.
That's like,
or 10 minutes a day.
Well, like the Latin roots in a lot of words that are said. It's really hard. Like la chuga. I knew what that was before. There's like some Latin root to it, but it means lettuce. Like there's aceituna, which is olive. There's piscicleta, which is pickle. Like it's so crazy, man. It's like because we were all in different parts of the world and decided to say things a different way.
One thing I'd like to do is because I remember I told my my sister-in-law. Well, she's not officially, but I always call her my sister-in-law now. Alex. I tell her, I'm like, you better teach your fucking daughter Spanish. She's like, no,
well, yeah, you should.
It's like, no, your brother said the same thing. Like, you better fucking teach her Spanish. And I'm like, good. Because I want to, eventually I would like to take her to Spain to do the Camino de Santiago.
Oh, dude.
And that way she can speak Spanish to everybody and be like, okay, good. I don't, even though I'm saying to myself, I'm like, no, I would love to learn. Like, I want to learn Spanish, but I won't. Like vino tinto and cafe con leche. That's about all I know to say. Like, I know how to order my drinks. That's
one of the great things is that like it's so funny that like I can't be put on the spot to speak Spanish, but I can understand what's being said. Like I can understand like I have a library of okay, I've heard this, I've heard that, I've heard that. Like so like when they're talking, like it's like when somebody's speaking Spanish, whether I know what's going on or not, I can decipher about 90% of it.
Okay.
And it, like I've been, I grew up here in Tucson, Arizona, the heart of the Southwest. Like I've got a lot of it in my repertoire, and that's a French word, repertoire.
No.
Yes, it is.
I'm fucking with you, man.
Go ahead.
Anyway, you know what? Actually, I can ask you. I want to ask you this question. What's something that your dad knew how to do that you would like to know how to do?
Oh man! Man! Calibrate a firing system on a Harley Davidson.
Oh, that's very specific, man.
Fuck yeah!
Very specific.
Because that's a badass.
Well, you know how to ride a motorcycle?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you just don't have a motorcycle license.
Well, I know. Oh, I know how to ride a Harley.
Yeah.
Because it's on like your 63 panhead. It's 3 up, 4 down.
Okay.
So it's you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's cool you would name something so specific though.
You know what I'm talking about?
Well, my dad taught me how to work on cars.
Yeah, it was so like say you're riding a panhead, 63 panhead. You got 3 up, 4 down. That's 3 gears up, 3 gears down. And the thing is that's where you put your foot and you tap up, tap down.
Well, yeah,
and that makes your bike change gears, and that makes you ride faster, ride slower. Dude. My dad was a motorcycle gang member.
Yeah, I know.
That's legit, man. Like it's what was your favorite like vehicle you've ever had?
Well, probably the Mustang.
You had a Mustang?
Even though I never drove it. Yeah, the 64 Mustang convertible my brother had. It was my dad's car, and then after he died, me and my brother got it. And I never actually drove it, but I helped my dad like mostly restore it. Well, somewhat, but mostly just restore it. Like that's where I learned how to work on cars.
I've got another.
Because we just got to the garage and just kind of work on whatever part of the car.
I've got another one that I need to throw out there. What is the best lesson you ever learned from your pops? Your pops. What was the best lesson you ever learned from your pops?
I mean, probably just working hard, discipline.
Yeah, right.
If you're working, don't
give up.
Yeah. Actually, perfectly said right there. Because when I get a job, I don't leave it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of those people who get a job and like, oh, I don't like it, and I quit. Right, like within like a week or two or whenever, like, oh, no, this isn't good for me, or this happened to me today, I'm gonna quit. I'm like, no, I don't do that. I get a job, like I stay with it for a long time.
Well, like
I've had like 4 jobs in the last 12 years.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Well, like Pops in particular for me, like he always taught me to like be proud of what you're good at, and you worked with me, and I was always cocky about what I was good at.
Well, I was serving for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was a dishwasher for a year. And then I'm at my current job, and I'm a little over a year now with that. And then my current job, I mean, like, I don't have any plans on leaving that.
Yeah. And Pops in let's say the late to early 90s, he was what was called an auto body technician.
Mm-hmm.
He could take a vehicle, completely dismantle it, put it together in another configuration, and have it legal for the road. Dude, that he literally could take two vehicles, splice them together, and make a fucking vehicle that was legal for the road. Like that's pretty fucking impressive.
My dad had a full like mechanics tool set, and he could work on cars no problem. Like, in fact, what he did for a living was, I mean, he was in the Air Force, and he was a aircraft mechanic on A-10s.
Was he really?
Oh yeah, he could take apart a jet engine and fucking rebuild it. Yeah,
man.
he was. Yeah, he knew his shit.
Jet propulsion.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You know, one thing I'll look at my dad and I'll look at myself, and like actually, like we're both. I think my dad was actually a pretty smart guy. He wasn't an idiot by any means.
Yeah.
But you know, he might have worked at a job that some people would consider like on a lower level. But I feel like I'm kind of the same way, and I'm gonna like be a little vain at the moment. Like, I know I'm a pretty smart guy. Like, I know my shit. Like, I know about a lot. I know a lot about a lot of different shit.
Right.
You know, like me and you, we can go back and forth about any fucking topic.
Yeah,
you know, if we're talking about
yeah.
like astrophysics or some shit,
Yeah.
like we'll be able to talk about it.
Like, what's this?
Or if we don't really know,
what's the speed of light from Jupiter? You know what? I can look that up,
Yeah.
son.
Yeah, if we don't know, we'll learn it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I work in plumbing, which some people would consider like more of a menial job. Like, oh, well, yeah, it's stupid people working. I'm like, no, actually, some of the smartest people, some of the smartest people I know actually do it because it requires a pretty high level of problem solving.
Well, problem solving, that's the big thing.
And that's one thing I like about my job now is I'm like, I work a job and you know, it's labor intensive, but
it's critical problem.
It requires like critical thinking and problem solving if you can't figure out how to figure out, you know, if you're trying to figure out an issue. And I think this is one thing thinking about it now is like, this one thing me and my dad are both like is, you know, we're working like physical jobs, but at the same time, they're very like thinking intensive.
Well, yeah, that's what
problem solving intensive.
Well, that's what I say, like critical thinking, like problem solving, like XYZ equals 3 times 4x equals this.
Well, I don't know shit about math. I'm terrible.
I do
math.
though, but like it's interesting. Like we've become good friends, and we are so different. And like what?
Are we different though?
Yes, we are. Man.
How?
Like we're just different on like the stuff that we focus on that makes us excited.
How so?
Like let's say like the crazy music that I listen to, and but
you really like played a lot of hated.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I always keep an open mind whatever you play.
Like
what?
I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to have fun with this. Yeah. Like it's like the different stuff that we enjoy. Mm-hmm. Like I know that you don't enjoy hardcore. I enjoy hardcore, but you've always like okay, Keith wants to show me a hardcore video, and you'll sit and watch it.
Man, you gotta move your mic up.
Well, I'm just blind right now. Okay, hold on.
Took your glasses off.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm back in the world. Okay.
Nope.
I'm there. But I've never like pushed like the hardcore music on you. But you've never given me a hard time. You're like, okay, that's what it. No, okay.
No, I never cared. I always usually wanted to hear it. I remember I had one night we were hanging out. And I kept trying to get you to play the hardest shit possible. Because I was like, I was in this mood where I'm like, for weeks, I was like, I need to find something really super fucking hard. And you played like, I think like Cannibal Corpse was finally where like, I was like, right, yeah. Okay, that's hard enough for me. And that's saying some shit.
Yeah, it was Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, it was. I remember that.
Cannibal Corpse is super fucking hardcore.
Well, they're black death metal.
Yeah.
Like they're not They're not death metal.
But even we were like playing some Slipknot, and I'm like, this isn't hard enough for me.
Yeah, I remember
Korn,
that.
like this isn't hard enough for me.
It was Cannibal Corpse. I think it was Siege of the Forgotten. I think was the name of the song.
Yeah.
And I just like I remember like I played something, and you're like, no, and I played something else, and you're like, nah, and I finally threw on Cannibal Corpse. And you're like, whoa. I remember that. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, I needed the blackest shit possible.
The blackest metal. The blackest of the blackest metal.
It's weird how, like, actually, in the last 6 months, I've, like, actually wanted, to, like, the heavier and heavier, like, music.
Well, like, one of the things that pops into my mind is Jim Carrey has been posting a lot of stuff on Instagram because he's a black metal fan. And we all knew.
That's true.
We all knew that from the first Ace
I fucking love Jim Carrey so much.
Yeah, he's so great. He's doing all this amazing drawing.
Oh my god, his art is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, and then he
took a few years off of like acting and everything.
Well, he's doing this stuff lately with with Black Dahlia. It's Black Dahlia, Cannibal Corpse, and there's one more that I'm drawing a blank in.
Well, he paints a lot of stuff against Trump.
Well, no, he's doing vocals for that band.
Really?
That has been paid for. That is for that band, and it's Jim Carrey doing death metal vocals.
I could see that,
dude. Well, think about the first.
I love Jim Carrey because he's an interesting person. Because you see so many sides of him of the fun side where like one thing I love is like watching interviews with him because he's so fucking entertaining and he actually just wants to make people laugh and smile.
You ever see his?
That's one thing I love about him. But then you start to learn about his true self and like how he is inside, and you realize like how serious he is and how like and you learn about like his art and like how he expresses himself and like his just the way he is. And it's fucking.
You ever see his death metal?
It's really interesting.
You ever see his death metal stuff on Arsenio Hall?
No.
He does Napalm Corpse. He does it's the best. We're gonna have to.
After the show.
We're gonna have to.
It's almost an hour.
Yeah.
Well, I want to. So getting back to the topic of we've been going on this for a while of stuff we want to learn that just we haven't done.
Yeah, dude, we haven't touched on that topic like at all.
Well, no, we have. We've been going off on like a lot of. Well, I didn't realize this topic would bring us to so many different like things. Honestly, otherwise I've been like, oh, we go off on this thing and this thing and this. Well, we started the first half hour of the show was just art.
Yeah,
which was really fucking cool. And then we know a little bit of guitar and
like that I want to be
and eating disorders and Jim Carrey and death metal. Fuck.
Right? Fuck.
Well, I mean, we could say like somebody. Well, I want to say something is, and I hate saying this about myself, but it's true. Is like I was saying earlier, like I want to learn how to play guitar, but I will spend more time laying in bed watching YouTube videos on guitars and how to play guitar and what different guitars sound like than I will actually trying to learn guitar.
Well, that's the fucked thing.
That's
the fuck thing is that actually
it's pretty fucked up, right?
One, I can't say that it's fucked because it's like actually the way to learn things now, dude.
Well, I don't mind the fact of learning it on YouTube, but I'm saying I'm spending more time learning about like and instead of actually trying to learn how to play, I'm spending more time watching videos about like learning how to play. Instead of actually like sitting down with a guitar and trying to like and just like strumming and like, playing a chord, then I am,
like we started this whole episode just like listening to music, and you listen to that band I showed you before, like, and you were like, oh, this is post-op, this is post. I'm like, no, dude, no, this is how that dude sounds.
Well, one thing I want to bring it back to with everything is, and it sucks. I hate saying this, but at the same time, I'm glad I can be like self-introspective and realize my faults. Is I'm just an amazing fucking procrastinator, And I mean, I think a lot of people are that way too. I mean, I'm sure yourself included. We're just fucking huge procrastinators. We can't, it's so much easier to sit in front of a fucking television and watch a video or a movie or a TV show than it is to actually fucking do something.
I'm done for the day.
And I hate that. That's one thing I really don't like about myself is I do that. I mean, I'm happy when I can like, I watch the one time I feel that way is like I watch a video on cooking something, and usually whenever I look at a video on cooking, I fucking go and make that same thing. Except for like maybe binging with Babish, which fucking he makes shit he makes shit that way you fucking can't possibly.
I love Babish, dude. I love Babish.
But if I'm watching, actually one channel I love is called How to Barbecue Right. With this fucking fat ass white dude, and he makes like the best barbecue. But I've watched a few of his videos and be like, oh, that's how I make that, and fucking gone and made that. But I mean, that's one thing I always say to myself, like, I bought shit earlier from Guitar Center, like, oh, I want to get a tuner, I want to try to, sit down. And on the weekends, like Saturdays and Sundays, I don't do a goddamn thing. I really don't. Like, I don't have anything really to do on the weekends except for fucking sit in bed or lay in bed and watch TV. And I fucking hated it at one point and be like, I need to fucking do something.
Well, that's what drives me crazy is because like I'm sitting here and like I know about cooking. Like I went to school for it. I know about it. And like I'm sitting here, okay, so I don't have a job in that scenario, and I'm sitting here sweating my fucking ass off. But I know how to talk food. Yeah. I know how to talk food. Like if you want to know how to brisk a salmon steak. I could tell you how to do that.
Well, one thing I hate the most is when people ask me, like, hey, what do you do for fun? And I'm just like,
we're doing that? Like we're doing
Well,
that?
No, I hate that question because it's like I'll talk to them and be like, oh, well, I like to go like, like dirt biking and work on my car and like this and that and the other thing. I'm just like, what do I do? Like, oh, what do I like to do for fun? I'm like, oh, well, I'd like to cook my grill.
There we go.
I like to lay in bed and watch Netflix. And I'm always about like I need something more to do.
Well, that's the big dichotomy. Like you've always been a huge part of Nerdy Bones. The big thing is, and take this.
I've said that before, though. Actually, one thing I do for fun is a podcast.
All right. Well, you need to take this for what it is. Like, I've put a lot of work and time and money into what this is, and like it means a lot to me. Like that, like $9 a month that like I'm doing something with.
Yeah.
Like it means a lot to me.
No, it means a lot to me too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent a lot of money on this too.
Yeah, dude,
I'm saying, one thing that's always been nice is always been very equal about.
Yeah, right.
This whole thing.
I just think it's great that we like our podcast is like, okay, so here's me that does this side of things, and there's Nick that does this side of things.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like, I might have like this rotational like knowledge of what we're talking about, and then we might come to this solid thing that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be fun, it could be whatever, but like we still have an idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. Man, this has been a little bit of everything episode.
Yeah.
Man, what have we not covered this episode?
I don't know.
Well, I think I want to get back to the question. Over an hour in again. What's one thing you would like to learn that you haven't? Something else.
Dude. I've got a very nerdy way to go at this. Like, okay, so I've been a lifelong martial artist. I would like to be legit solid in Wing Chun.
Yeah.
Because you can't fuck with that.
Yeah. It's funny how like we talk about this stuff and we're like, this is actually the things we want to learn are all easy things to learn.
Yeah.
Or mostly it's really about time and dedication.
Yeah. Well, Wing Chun.
Yeah.
It's going to be about 20 years of your life.
Yeah. But still, if both of us would stop procrastinating so much. And with me, I'm always like, I feel like I have that excuse. I'm like, oh, well, I work 10 hours a day. I don't have time to do this, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm free on the weekends. I'm like, you know what? If I want to spend, an hour on the weekend, fucking around and with a guitar or something, I could do it. And it wouldn't affect my day. It really wouldn't.
Well, I really love that. It's so funny. Like, I wish I could put this in perfect words. Like, I've always loved podcasting. I love that it is a part of my life. That's something that I can.
That's something we've always kept up with.
Yeah, and it's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I listen to podcasts all day, like different, like the Dollop, like just so many random shows. And like the fact that our show is something I actually myself listen to.
Oh, me too.
And we put work into it. I think that's great. Like I really do feel like the podcast world is still a budgeting.
Well, Rogan, that's one thing Rogan always talked about. He always encourages everybody to do a podcast. Everybody.
Yes,
it's like, you want to do it? Just fucking do it.
Just do it, man.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you're doing it on. He's just always like, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Like, we want to hear you talk about it.
If he's like, and he'll tell friends, like, yo, you want to do it? Like, you don't need a goddamn thing. Like, you just need a fucking iPhone.
Just do it.
And an account for a podcasting website. That's
just do it.
Just do it.
Well, and it's like it's something that I've been so passionate about for me, man. It's
like a year and a half at least.
Years.
Yeah,
years, and it's just and like so like maybe we get lucky enough to like let's look at it this way like with like Rogan and like Chris D'Elia and Brian Callen and what's homeboy's name Brendan Schaub. Like we'd be lucky to like form a group like that, like where they're always
we would, but at the same time, like we always say we do this for ourselves.
Yeah,
we get like 20, 30, maybe 40 downloads an episode.
Yeah, but it would be.
We enjoy ourselves.
But it would be amazing to finally.
Yeah, but we can't think about it that way.
You're right.
We really can't.
You're right.
We just always, we put out episodes because it's something we want to talk about.
You're right.
I don't do stuff just for doing it. And like, if I want it to be a topic I want to enjoy talking about.
You're right.
And we do. Like we're doing with this episode. Something we enjoy talking about. I want to talk about like, so I got one more last thing. I've always wanted to learn. I just haven't gotten around to learning it, which is stained glass.
Stained glass.
I would love to learn how to do stained glass. So my grandfather on my mom's side was like he did stained glass, and he actually like he has some I know of only one place. I mean, it could be more, but there was one place. There's a church in El Centro at like an Air Force base that he did stained glass for.
Was the church itself Catholic? Or
yeah,
no?
Yeah, he's Catholic. Yeah, well, he's a religious guy.
Well, brother, you got to know.
But he was actually a guy too who did a lot in his life. Like he was a photographer, like worked on like arcade machines, I think. Stained glass, like military, just a lot of shit. He was in the army.
When my big
for
thing,
years,
and you can take it or leave it, but like
he's kind of an asshole. I will totally say that right now. You was a bit of an asshole.
Well, you can take it or leave it, but when it comes to like Catholic imagery, I just can't get behind it. I just can't.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. So I went on a cross country trip when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And because he had asked me, like, after my grandmother died, he asked me, like, hey, like, for your brother, I like asked him where he wanted to go, but I'm gonna do that for you this year. And he's like, where do you want to go? And I was like, oh, I want to go to Washington D.C. So I'm like, a 12, 13-year-old kid, and I flew into Sacramento from Las Vegas, and we took his RV from Sacramento to D.C. down to Florida.
Okay.
And we drove the whole way, or he drove the whole way.
Oh, okay.
And there were actually times where he'd get pissed off because I would be sleeping. He's like, I'm about to fucking do this. Yeah, I'm doing this trip for you. Like, you shouldn't be fucking sleeping. He's like, slap me upside the head or something. So he was a bit of a dick at times, but fucking, I still remember like at least a few times a month. I'll remember that trip when I, from fucking, 25 years ago. It's crazy to think about that fact of it.
It really is, man.
I mean, like I said, he was a bit of a dick.
He's a bit of a dick. He's a dick tip.
But I always remember that trip. I will always remember that trip.
He was a dick tip.
Different aspects of it. And it might, and I mean, thinking about it now, it might have helped, it might have shaped me a little bit into the person I am today. I don't know. But, I'm always grateful to like have that because I got to see the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
I think about that. Like I got to see the United States and all its glory, Oh, wow.
Cool.
But yeah, stained glass is one thing I always wanted to learn. Never gotten around to it. I don't know what I'd really do. Like I always love like learning different types of art, like painting or charcoal.
Charcoal's hard.
I actually like working with charcoal. I haven't used it in years, but
still hard.
I remember I took a week off of work to do charcoal portraits. And what I did was I took photographs of friends and I blew them up and I printed them out and I did an outline on a piece of paper. Then I did charcoal, like with like I used like colored charcoal though.
That's not easy,
dude. I love fucking charcoal is fucking great to work with, man. It is a little difficult, but it's fucking the results are fucking fantastic. I loved it. Oof.
I'm sweating like a bitch.
Yeah. Well, we're in a hot room. It's Arizona and it's fucking almost.
Oh man.
It's towards the end of the month of July or of June.
I'm sweating like a mother.
Anyway. Yeah. You gotta open the door up. All right. Get some cool air. I'm trying to think of something else I would like to learn. So I got a Spanish guitar. Fuck. I mean, I'd love to learn how to train my own dog, but that's not happening.
Anytime recently.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything else, honestly. You got anything?
No.
You got nothing?
I'm just glad I can keep find my glasses.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's fucking sweaty.
Yeah. Sorry for the end of this episode, everybody. So this has been Rufus the Villain, and the question has been, what have you always wanted to learn that you've never been able to?
Yeah.
Something like that. Sorry, we're
I wish I could help.
over an hour in, and we've both been drinking, and Keith, and we both been sweaty. So hope you enjoyed this episode and made it all the way through.
Oh man.
I forgot. Do you have a sign off?
I rubbed the sweat in my eye. What were you saying?
You got a sign off for Rufus the Villain?
Not right now, no.
No sign off for Rufus the Villain. All right.
Wow.
So this has been Rufus the Villain and Nick, and hope you enjoyed.